Right guys, let's get the video started. What is going on guys, Bilal Sayeed here, welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're going to be discussing the Canon RF 35mm 1.8 macro IS lens. A bit of a mouthful, but to summarize, it's the Canon RF 35mm 1.8. Now, just to put it out there, I'm no technical expert. Like I don't know the ins and outs, but what I am going to be doing is reviewing the lens based on my usage, based on my experience, and based on what I do know about the lens. Now, just to summarize, it's pretty much in the name, to be fair. It's a 1.8 macro lens. It does come with inbuilt image stabilization, and it's a very light and portable lens, which means it's very, very good for traveling. If you are someone who travels light, if you are someone who, you know, just packs one lens and buggers off to another country, this is that lens. It's very small, very compact. You can fit it in your pouch, fit it in your pocket, and you're good to go. In terms of the pricing point of view, it retails at £529.99, so just shy of £530 here in the UK. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video into sort of three categories: photography side of things, the videography side of things, and then a general overview. And what I'll also do is I'll compare it to the Nifty 50. Now, if you don't know what the Nifty 50 is, it's basically a 50mm 1.8 prime lens. Right guys, so on the photography side of things then, this lens, as we mentioned, comes with a 1.8 aperture. Now what that means is the aperture is very wide, which means it allows for more depth of field. In simple terms, the subject is more in focus and the rest of the background is a bit more blurred, if that makes sense. So very, very sharp, but it does also make it very good for low light situations. I would say a 1.8 is pretty much standard across most prime lenses, so you're not really getting any surprises there, but still very good for what you get. Now, the lens does come with macro capabilities. Now, I cannot stress how amazing this is. Like, genuinely speaking, it's amazing. And even when I'm shooting jewelry for products, it's picking up all those intricate details that our naked eye can't see. Just to give you an example here of a watch, you can see the time, the dials, everything very, very crispy clear, which I don't think we as humans can really see that clear or that crystal clear. So I'm going to show you another example, and this is a picture of an eye. Look at the detail, like genuinely, look at the intricacy, look at the texture of the patterns on his eyes. Like, our naked eye can never see that, so this lens is picking up very, very fine details. What I really also like about this lens, and this goes for both photography and videography, is the focal length. Like, it's a 35mm, and I don't know how to explain this, but it's not too far and it's not too close, if that makes sense. So for me, it's just the perfect middle ground, making it very, very versatile. I'm also going to show you guys some examples of some photographs that I've taken earlier on today. This is my friend and model Akeem, whose Instagram will be linked below. Here you can see the 1.8 aperture doing its thing. You can see the intricacy of the photographs. You can see how sharp it is. You can see the way that the photograph is composed. Very, very sharp, very good quality. And this was shot on the R6. Settings will obviously be addressed near the photograph. So yeah, very, very versatile. I think it appeals to pretty much every category of photography. Like, I cannot think of a sort of scenario where I wouldn't use this lens. Another thing, which again applies to both photography and videography, is its image stabilization. But when you combine this with the 5-axis electronic image stabilization on the R series, you're left with like a super stabilized setup. So if you're someone with shaky hands, you ain't got to worry about that anymore, because the camera is kind of going to fix that for you. But it applies more when it comes to videography. For those of you who don't own a gimbal, you can entirely shoot handheld now, because you are going to get those steady shots, provided you're obviously composing yourself properly. Obviously, it does help with the gimbal. Now, I'm going to show you guys some examples of handheld footage. As you guys can see, I'm walking back with the camera, and here's the result. Here's what you can see handheld. Now, this is shot at 120 frames per second, so it is going to be hard to tell if it's shaky. I'm also going to show you guys the same thing with a gimbal. A gimbal will always be better, of course. As you can see, it's very cinematic, very steady, no shake, but it's very hard to differentiate the two, which is the point I'm trying to prove. This lens is very, very good for those steady shots. Again, videography wise, the focal length is perfect. I think it's the perfect prime lens for videography. And again, it's a very strong contender for low light videography as well, with the aperture being at 1.8. Now, the only negative thing I've had to experience, or I've experienced, it can be a little bit noisy when it's focusing. Like, it makes a mechanical autofocus noise, which doesn't throw me off personally, but I do know of some people it would throw off, and I think it might just be my lens, I don't know, but I was expecting it to be a little bit quieter. But that is the only negative thing I can say. How it compares to the Nifty 50, in my opinion, I think it's obviously substantially better, especially for videographers. Now, not much can separate the two when it comes to photography, solely based on the fact that it's a 1.8, but what does separate is obviously the macro capability. So this lens is giving you a little bit more versatility. When it comes to videography, this lens outweighs the 50mm by a milestone. again due to its image stabilization. And from a pricing point of view, this is substantially more expensive, double the price, more than double the price of the RF version of 50mm, and obviously quadruple the price of the EF series if you are on the EF series. Although there is a substantial price difference, personally I think it does justify the price because you are getting image stabilization and you're getting macro. I cannot recommend this lens enough, especially if you're both a photographer and a videographer. And if you are obviously contemplating this as a videographer, I would highly recommend it. I do use it every time I'm shooting, be it fashion, weddings, product. Like I said, it covers a variety of categories within photography, so definitely a lens that I recommend. Now I hope you guys did enjoy my take on the 35mm 1.8, and if you are contemplating buying this lens, I hope this video does give you some sort of clarity, especially with the examples that I've shown. Now I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be releasing very similar videos as such, reviewing camera tech, but not just camera talk. Like I'm not just a camera guy, so you'll be seeing vlogs, Q&As, cinematic videos, and all sorts really. But yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next video.